Hey there, welcome to episode 22 of the Paula and Joe Show. If you're new here, here's a quick rundown of what you need to know. It's 24 minutes of raw business analysis and change talk. And when the countdown timer buzzes, we're done. My name's Joe Newbert, and as always, alongside me is my BAFF, Paula Bell. How's it, Paula? Please tell us what's up on this episode.
Hi, Joe. Hello, everyone. It's going great. Well, we do have a special guest. Our special guest is Anton. And this is interesting because I think this is probably the shortest bio I've ever done on one of these. But according to Anton, when it comes to humanity, doing everything possible to come across as being very clever, I'm part of the problem, but I'm hell bent on changing that before my time expires. So today we're going to talk about how Anton injects value into business analysis. Welcome, Anton.
Hi, Paula. Thanks for that. Yeah, I'm not one for long bios and intros and stuff like that. Certify this and certify that and, been there, done that. But yeah, it's this is an exciting topic for me. So, sort of like one of my pet peeves on the side.
And that's what
Oh,
excites me when Anton tells me there's a pet peeve that he wants to talk about. You know, it's going to be quite a spicy conversation. So I'm ready for this, Anton.
Great, man.
I am as well. So why don't we just go ahead and jump in because I'm interested to see where this is going to go. So I have a question for you, Anton. The question is, tell us about the problem you see where BAs feel that they're not BAs.
Yeah, that's probably one of the most frequent questions I hear people ask, people being business analysts, when I go to a conference, and also, on forums, online forums and stuff like that. Um, it's very frequent that they will ask, or rather make the statement and say, I'm a BA, but I don't do BA stuff. If I look at what a BA should be doing, I'm not doing that. And when you go to a conference and somebody speaks about all these nice things and these topics, how to improve your skills and stuff as a BA, then I find that the BAs normally feel that, that's great, but I don't do that stuff where I work currently. I don't do that, so I don't feel like I'm a BA. But interestingly, though, it's not unique to the BA profession. I sort of, move seamlessly between BA and PM. So I do a lot of talks on the PMI side of my life as well, and it's a very common theme over there as well. I don't do the things that I think I should be doing as a BA slash a PM and stuff like that. And it goes hand in hand with the question, uh, um, where do I fit in? Because very often you would find the same people saying, we're using this methodology, this framework where I currently work, but there's no BA role, so I feel like I'm gonna lose my job. I'm next, tomorrow when I go in, they're gonna say to me, listen, Anton, we don't need you anymore because there's no BA role. And that's basically in a nutshell the problem that I see. And for me, it's very frustrating because I think, it's sort of we victims of our own. Um, I'm trying to find the right word. Not 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 perfection. We want everything to be perfect, and we sort of fall on our own sword when it comes to that. So that's basically the problem, and I think that we need to address.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I work with BAs and PMs as well. I do coaching with both sets, more so BAs than PMs, and that is definitely what I hear a lot of. I don't know if I'm actually doing what a BA should do. I don't know if I'm adding the value. I don't know if this is actually supposed to be a task that a BA is doing,
Right.
or if I'm just taking on more just because I don't know and setting a precedence that I don't want. So there is a lot of concern around that. How would you, what advice would you give to people who feel that way and being comfortable, being in that uncomfortable state, or just being comfortable saying, you know what, I am adding value and it's the right value at the time. It may not look like a traditional BA role or traditional PM role, but I'm adding that value until I could make a change, a positive, influential change.
Yeah. Yeah. My go-to on that would normally be very unsympathetic, if I may say that, in the sense that I would, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a caveat to that because it is what it is sort of a statement that you hear a lot of people make when they don't have a definitive answer for something. But if you take it in the context of why we sit with this problem, why do we have so many BIs asking this question? Um, then the statement of it is what it is makes a bit more sense. Um, I mean, for me personally, I mean, I don't know if you've been in a situation like that where you feel, I'm not doing what I should be doing, or what people expect that I should be doing when I tell them, um, I'm a BA. Oh, okay, so you're doing this and that. Well, that's a lie because most people have got no clue what a BA does. It's sort of like a mystery job. My kids, for years, when they were still small, I used to travel a lot and I was hardly ever home. And I was like, it was like I was working for MI6 or the FBI because it was very, very difficult for me to explain to them what I'm doing. And
Mm-hmm.
so there was always these weird answers that I would give to them. But the one thing that I found is, like I said, we are it's part of it is a problem that we create for ourselves. Um, because gone are the days, and this has been for years now, where you have a predefined job description and that is what you do. Um, I always like to think about it in the sense of, um, years ago, we had specific state-owned entities in South Africa that did specific things and delivered specific services. And when we still had landlines, um, they would come and a guy would stop at your house and he would install the cable and he would leave. And then a day later, the next guy would arrive with the instrument that he would plug in to that socket that the previous guy installed. And then somebody would activate all of this. And that was, it's an example of a very clear job description. And you stop when you reach the end of that job description. You don't go beyond it. That's my job. That's what I've been told to do. That's what I've been paid to do. And I start here, in here. I don't care. Um, it's not like that anymore. I mean, we as BAs need to accept the fact that a job description is a piece of paper, and it's marketing, and it's like a broad guideline of what you can expect when you accept a job offer. So you're going to be doing X, Y, and Z, um, but that does not mean that's the only thing you're going to do, and it doesn't mean that you're actually going to do it. You might
Well,
do X and Z and not Y.
well, that's where I wanted to come in because, job descriptions aren't like a boundary, like where you need to stop. You're going to have to go above and beyond and get involved, particularly if you want to to grow. But I almost feel like the problem you were framing at the beginning was that actually people aren't even getting to fulfill their job description. Actually, that promise, that piece of marketing, as you call it, which hooked them in to apply before they get the job, and then they don't get the opportunity to do that. What? Why? I got a couple of questions actually, but let me start with this one. So, if they're not doing that, what are they doing? How is it going for them? They must be doing something. Is it that they're
Yeah.
only partially doing it? Are they being directed and being told specifically what to do? Are they just like template zombies? What do you see going on?
All of the above, actually. Um, and this is where, so the problem is created basically, in my view, stems from three different places. The one, as I mentioned, is ourselves as BAs, with the expectations that we have, that there's a very strict framework with in which we're going to work. But then we also have the organizations. Organizations, they actually write, and or whoever they outsource this to, write a nice job description, and you would go in and accept the job, and then you would find I'm not doing what the job description says. But actually, let's be honest, organizations, they not really, they fill a position to get stuff done. Okay, they've got something that needs to be done, and they fill that position with a specific resource that would be able to get done what they need to be done. Um, so, whether it's going to mean that you're going to do everything in the job description, because typically a job description for a BA includes everything that you would have for a BA as is defined by the BA box. Okay, some people even cut and paste from there and
Yeah.
put it in a job description. But an organization doesn't function like that. An organization needs to produce something. They need to have a specific output. So they're not going to say to me, Anton, you've got this job description that you accepted the job based on. So you're going to do all of these things, you're going to perform all of these tasks, and you're going to deliver these deliverables that defined in this job description, regardless of whether we actually produce the output that we needed or not. That's not how it works. That's not how life works. That's not how business works. And most of these companies have very good supporting structures. They've got career paths for BAs, training plans, all those things. They've got teams with team leads and stuff like that. So on the surface, it looks great. But when you talk to the BAs, they say, you know what, all I do as a BA, I test all day. That's all I do.
Okay.
I test software. I um, but it's very rare that you find a BA role where you do everything that a BA does. From cradle to grave type of involvement. You're lucky if you have that, but unfortunately, that's like a utopia. It's not always achievable. Um, I've mentioned three sources for this problem. The other one, I believe, that feeds on the organizations feeds on this is job titles, and this is where my pet peeve actually comes in, um, because we have these people conjure up these job titles with all sorts of adjectives. And this creates confusion, uncertainty, frustration with BAs, because all of a sudden you've been doing BA work for 5, 10, 20 years, and all of a sudden the whole job market is flooded with jobs for an agile business analyst. What the hell is an agile business analyst? I mean, nobody. I'm still looking for somebody to explain that to me, for the simple reason I always say, so you're looking for an agile business analyst. Okay, if you're talking about the action of being agile, or the function of agility, being able to use the agile framework, being lean, knowing how to use Scrum and all that stuff. My response to that would always be a good BA is agile by nature. That means that if you put the BA on a project that uses any sort of methodology, whether it's predictive or adaptive, whether it's agile or whether it's Scrum or whether it's extreme or lean, it doesn't matter. But a good BA would be able to adapt to the techniques, the tools, and the ceremonies that goes with that specific environment. Um, if the BA can't adapt to that, then unfortunately you're not in the right profession, because you need to be adaptable. Okay, you need to be able to look at this and say, okay, yesterday I was writing product specifications. Today I need to write user stories. If you can't make that shift, then you're in trouble. So how that makes somebody an agile BA, is beyond me. But that actually feeds this whole problem of the BA all of a sudden saying, where do I fit in? I don't do what a BA should be doing. Where to next? What should I do now? Should I get a new certification? I mean, we all know you can get certified in basically anything in the world today. I mean, and as soon as a new buzzword comes out, 4 weeks, and the place is flooded with experts and certifications and all sorts of people. Me, I mean, I'm a Chat GPT certified SME, and I have been for 5 days. So you can ask me anything, I'll give you the answer. Um, but that creates anxiety with BAs. It frustrates me when, and it's sort of, I don't know whether it starts with the organization or the recruiters, who makes that decision. But it really, like I say, if you have an anxious, nervous BA doesn't really know where they fit in, they become less productive, and yeah. So for me, those are the three. I mean, I'm never going to say, it's all this is somebody else's fault. I mean, BAs, like I say, for sure, do have to carry part of the blame, because this is not a perfect world. It never will be. So, get over it. If you get the perfect job, great. I mean, I'm happy for you. But chances are that you're sort of going to go with between maybe 80% and lower. Anything higher, then I think you're lucky. Um, but we need to use what we have. We need to take what we have and make the best of it. We can't just say, oh, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to, so I'm unhappy now. Because that's a big, dark hole that you'll sink into, that you're going to have difficulty coming out of. And I'm talking of, semi sort of experience where, in my life, I've worked in many different countries, and did a lot of weird things as a business analyst. Um, and, I found that as soon as I sat down and said, well, this is not my job that I wanted to do. This I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Thing goes downhill. But as soon as you take ownership of it, you've got an opportunity to add the value that you think that you should be adding. In my opinion.
That was great. And Joe, I think you said you had more questions, but I just gotta say one thing. I just gotta say one thing that I totally resonated with me. Number one, I've been doing business analysis for over 2 decades and have never had the formal title of business analyst, period. Never. You will never see it on my resume. So you're not gonna know I was a business analyst. And number two, the other thing that you said to me that really resonated with me, I should say, is around the agile BA. You make a good point because I don't see anybody looking for a Lean Six Sigma BA. And a BA can definitely use Lean Six Sigma to do process improvement, right? So you make a good point. I like to tell, and I have clients all over the globe who have this problem. I don't know where to fit in. And I like to tell them is where you add value. Don't create documentation that doesn't add value. Don't have
Yeah.
meetings that don't add value. Don't do things that don't add value. Because at the end of the day, that's what people are going to be looking at. It's going to be the value that you're adding. Because to your point, a lot of people still don't know how to leverage BAs. But
Yeah.
Joe, I'm gonna hit it back to you because I know you had some
No,
additional questions.
no,
But I just had to say that just hit.
No, you carry on, Paula.
that was just I'm just loving everything I'm hearing
Yeah.
right now
No,
because the
it
fundamentals
is.
of business analysis hasn't changed. The fundamentals has not changed.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, um, it's something that's similar and creates similar anxiety is when people say, to be a good leader, you need to do these things. If you don't do these things, you're a bad leader. You know what? If you're a bad leader, you're not a leader in any case. There's no such thing as a good leader and a bad leader. Either you're a leader or you're not, because it's simple. Because it's not like a manager that works with people, but a leader has got specific traits and characteristics. So it's not like you can be a good or a bad mechanic because you work with physical things. But once you only talk about soft skills, if you don't have those skills, then basically you're not what you say you are. So if you're a good BA, you should be able to fit into any environment seamlessly. Yes, I do acknowledge the fact that things like industry knowledge and being an SME and stuff like that makes it easier for a BA. I mean, it's like uh, an adjective that makes sense to me in part is something like a technical BA, but because that means that you're more hands on. Okay, you're gonna you know your SQL and you can do queries and you can do a bit of Java and stuff like that. But in essence, the core, like you say, for a business analyst have never changed. You still do the same things. Your tools, your techniques and stuff that changes. That you adapt and that evolves as we go along. But you do the same things essentially. Just using different tools. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, what would you say, Anton, is some opportunities that organizations are losing out on because of these situations that we talk about? So, what are organizations potentially losing from their team members?
Yes. Most organizations don't like to obviously admit it because, like I say, organizations normally have a very good, especially larger organizations, corporates, they always have a very good supporting structure in place. I mean, if you walk into a big financial institution in South Africa, for instance, I'm fairly positive that there will be a career path for a business analyst and a career path for this and a career path for that. Um, but the thing that they don't seem to understand by not supporting their support structure, if that makes sense, in the sense of having the BAs and stuff doing what they're supposed to be doing is they create an environment that it's focused on frustration. You get a lot of frustrated BAs, and I've seen in team meetings in these organizations, if BAs start talking about these things, they're very frustrated because they always complain about I'm doing somebody else's job, and it makes them less effective. So organization loses out on the potential that their BAs actually have because they never realize that potential. You sit with underutilized BAs, but they seem to be overutilized because they are churning, but they're not moving anywhere fast. because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're frustrated, and it's mundane tasks, and they don't like doing it. So yeah, that's definitely the biggest thing they lose out on, is that potential of a good BA.
It's sounding like a lose-lose, really. Nobody's winning in this.
No, it's not. But I mean, again, BAs do have the opportunity to actually take control, and inject themselves and add value, whether people want it or not, whether people ask for it or not. Um, and it's sort of like dangerous ground, um, because some organizations, they want what's called team players. In other words, don't speak your mind, don't give your opinion, we'll tell you what to do, and just do it, and everybody's happy. But there are ways that the BI can actually add value and inject himself, um, in a positive way. You know, the first thing would be to actually always do a good job. No, there's no exceptions. It doesn't matter whether it's your job or not. It doesn't matter whether you think it's your job or not. It doesn't matter whether it's in the job description or not. When you do something, do it to the best of your ability. No exceptions. If you stray from that, then you only got yourself to blame for what follows. Um, that's it's not negotiable. If you want to add value, if you want to prove yourself, you have to do that. And then obviously always look for opportunities. Be innovative and promote your skills that you have. I used to, and in a previous life where I worked, um, I used to take the initiative myself to publish monthly newsletters with BI topics. I would organize knowledge sharing sessions with other BAs in the organization. This wasn't something that the organization came up with, or anything like that. I just felt, you know what, I've got something that I want to share, and let's see if there's anybody that's interested in that. And I would schedule the sessions, and people would come and join, and look for opportunities to innovate. If you see something that can be improved, can be changed or something. I used to have the habit where I would write business cases. When we still had the era of business cases, where people still cared about business cases. If I saw a big issue and stuff, I'd write a business case. I'd spend time on my own time, not company time, and I would write a business case describing the problem, possible solutions, all the rest that you would do with a business case. That way, people can, they can see that, there's something, and it doesn't mean that something will come from that every single time. I mean, don't feel despondent and feel like it's a failure if nothing comes from that. I mean, I think probably in my lifetime with initiatives like that, if I had a 50% hit rate, success rate, from that, I would consider it good. It doesn't mean it was a failure. I mean,
So
not everything that
sometimes
you. Sorry, Joe. Yeah,
sometimes the reward is actually much later on. You just
exactly.
don't realise that it's coming. But I like what you say there. I mean, it's really good. Like, do a job to the best of your abilities. So sort of do what you say you're going to do it well every time. I feel like I was hearing a little bit of ask for forgiveness, like afterwards, maybe than before. Because if you are in a dead end role, right, you sort of got nothing to lose, do you? If it doesn't go well, if you're not that team player as you describe it, then actually got nothing to lose, do you? So if it doesn't work out, then you can maybe find somewhere else,
Absolutely.
show
Yeah.
initiative, innovate. But I'm going to have to say, episode 22, your time is up. It's time to come in. It's been wonderful having you on the show, Anton. A real breath of fresh air. And yeah, so many good points in there. I'm going to wonder what people's comments are about this. It's not something I have come across as frequently, but I do also get that things are different in different places. So I'm going to be interested to see how sort of common a problem this is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, Paula, what was your sort of final takeaway from this?
For me, it's good to have someone else who resonates with the same thinking that I've had before. It's sort of like we've made this thing so complicated and it doesn't have to be. And so, just again, it's all about the value, and it's not necessarily about the title, it's about the role. We've been talking about that for a while as well. So I like, have that integrity, have that character, that when you say you're going to do something, do it well, and keep it moving. And if the role that you're in isn't for you, then as long as people can see that you're adding value and you're great, something else will pop up. There'll be another opportunity. So just do the best that you can always. And so I really like that, and that resonated.
Yeah. Should we do your socials, Anton? I suspect that quite a few people are going to want to get in touch and carry on this conversation with you. Because as much as you said you're unsympathetic, I think I heard quite a bit of empathy towards these people and how they're feeling. So let's tell them where they can get hold of you and maybe carry on the conversation.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, it doesn't mean that I'm totally, yeah, so I'm not a very social media type animal. I mean, I believe that social media is the worst thing that ever happened to our social lives, but you can get in touch with me on email at anton@disruptedba.co.za and also on LinkedIn at Anton Oosthuizen, one word. I realized that Paula avoided saying my surname, but I know
I
how
sure did.
difficult it is. I know how
Sure did.
difficult it is.
Because I was not about to butcher that live. So I'm glad you said it.
There's a reason I say to Paula every week, can you please introduce this guest? You see, but I actually know how to say your name. It might have taken me 15 years of being in this country, but I can say Oosthuizen now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, thank you for coming on, and thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate your support. You can subscribe to the Paula and Joe Show on your pod player of choice: iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, YouTube, and more. If you enjoyed the show, then please do help pass the pod by leaving a review and a 5-star rating. That would be very cool. And you can keep the riff going by leaving your comments over on the blog at 168.fm. That's the words 16 and 8, not the numbers. Please follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, again at 168FM, because we'd love to hear your take on injecting value into business analysis. Anton, Paula and I will join you there. Until then, take care and keep growing.